The sun goes down, and for most of human history, that was not bedtime. That was showtime. Right now, when it gets dark outside, something old switches on inside you. Your energy doesn't drop, it shifts. You want noise, you want people, you want to laugh loud enough that someone across the room hears you and laughs back. That restless itch at 9 p.m., scrolling for something, anything to do, isn't boredom. That's a 300,000-year-old appointment you keep missing.
Some of you feel this pull stronger than others. The ones who come alive after dark, who can't fall asleep before midnight no matter how tired the day left them, who feel more like themselves around a bonfire than in a bright office at noon. Are you the ancient normal here, or the modern exception? Sit with your own body for a second, because the answer isn't what you'd guess.
Picture a woman somewhere in the Kalahari Desert 20,000 years ago. The sun just dropped below the horizon. The heat of the day is gone, and so is every task that filled it. She isn't hunting, she isn't gathering roots. She's sitting cross-legged by a small fire with a dozen people from her camp, and she's about to tell a story she has told 100 times before. Everyone already knows the ending. Nobody minds. The story was never really the point. In 2014, anthropologist Polly Wiesner spent years recording conversations like this among the Juhuansi people of Namibia and Botswana, one of the last groups on Earth whose daily rhythm still echoes deep human history. She compared what people talked about during the day to what they talked about after dark. In daylight, conversation was almost all business, complaints, gossip, arguments over who owed who meat. But the moment the fire was lit, something flipped. Over 90% of Firelight talk turned into stories, jokes, songs, and playful teasing. Picture that shift happening across the whole camp at once. Daylight faces going stiff and serious, Firelight faces cracking open into laughter, like a switch nobody had to flip on purpose.
This wasn't an accident of free time. It was the entire point of night. For your ancestors, darkness canceled the workday by force. You cannot track an antelope you cannot see. You cannot spot a ripe berry in pitch black. So the moment the light disappeared, so did every task that kept people apart, spread out, competing, focused on their own patch of ground. What was left was just people, fire, and each other. For hours, every single night, for hundreds of thousands of years.
And here's the part that should stop you. That nightly ritual wasn't wasted time evolution just tolerated. It was actively building something. Every joke landing around that fire, every story getting retold, every burst of shared laughter was flooding the group with a chemical your brain still releases tonight the moment something makes you genuinely laugh with other people. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Researcher Robin Dunbar has spent decades studying exactly this, and his experiments found that real, involuntary group laughter spikes pain tolerance and trust in a way that calm conversation never does. Picture two groups of strangers, one just chatting politely, one doubled over laughing at the same joke. Minutes later, the laughing group can hold a hand in ice water twice as long as the chatting group. That's not a metaphor for closeness. That's your body physically gluing itself to the people around it. There's a second layer to this that almost nobody talks about. In 2017, anthropologist Daniel Smith analyzed the actual content of these Firelight stories among hunter-gatherer groups and found something strange. The stories people chose to tell after dark were almost never about survival skills or practical knowledge. They were about fairness, cooperation, characters who cheated the group and got caught. Children weren't just being entertained around that fire. They were being quietly trained, night after night, on how to live inside a group without getting kicked out of it. Picture a child half asleep against someone's shoulder, absorbing the rules of an entire society without a single lesson ever feeling like one.
Nighttime for a hunter-gatherer wasn't downtime. It was the only stretch of the day the whole group's nervous system synced up together, on purpose, every single day of their lives. Now fast forward to the world you actually live in.
Somewhere in the last few centuries, and then violently in the last 100 years, something ancient broke. Cheap artificial light let humans keep working, keep producing, keep scrolling long after the sun went down. The one guaranteed nightly reset your ancestors never had to schedule because darkness scheduled it for them automatically quietly disappeared. You still feel the old pull toward people and laughter after dark, but now you're far more likely to spend that exact window alone, lit by a phone screen, watching other people have the fun you were built to be having yourself.
If you've ever wondered why a video call with friends feels hollow compared to actually being loud in a room with them, this is why. If you've ever felt strangely lonely on a Friday night surrounded by notifications from 100 people, this is why. Line up 10 adults from anywhere in the modern world and ask when they last spent a real unplugged evening laughing in a room with other people, no screens involved. According to time use data tracked by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average American now spends less than 40 minutes a day on face-to-face socializing, and a huge share of that is eaten by a screen sitting on the table the entire time.
Picture those same 10 people around a fire 20,000 years ago. All 10 still there, hours after dark, nobody holding a glowing rectangle instead of another person's eyes. Now picture only 3 or 4 of today's 10 actually doing that on a given night. That's not a small shift. That's most of the group quietly opting out of the one ritual evolution built to be non-negotiable. Which brings up something worth sitting with. Are you someone who still chases that ancient nighttime pull? Dinners that run too long, backyard fires, staying up loud with people you love? Or has your version of night quietly become something your ancestors wouldn't even recognize as night at all? Here's what almost nobody tells you about that quiet, solitary version. It isn't neutral. Sleep researcher Jerome Siegel studied 3 of the last hunter-gatherer and pre-industrial societies on Earth, the Hadza, the San, and the Tsimane, tracking what their nights actually looked like without electric light.
What he found upended a lot of assumptions. These groups didn't go straight to bed at sunset. They stayed up for hours after dark, together, talking and laughing by firelight before finally dropping into one long, deep stretch of sleep. Picture an entire camp still lit orange by the fire, still wide awake and laughing 3 hours after the sky went black, nobody rushing towards sleep at all.
The fun wasn't a bonus tacked on to the end of the day. It was the bridge between the day's exhaustion and real deep rest. Skip that bridge, and something in the system stays incomplete. If you go straight from a lit screen to a dark pillow with zero real connection in between, your body is missing a step it has expected every single night for 300,000 years. If you want to know what else evolution built into you that modern life quietly deleted, subscribe to Neanderthink, because this is only one of dozens of ancient defaults still running underneath your daily life. So what do you actually do with this? Not another lecture about phone addiction. You've already heard that one. The reframe here is simpler and stranger. Your ancestors didn't treat nighttime fun as optional relaxation you earn after real life is done. They treated it as required maintenance for the entire group, as necessary as food or water, scheduled automatically by the sun itself, no willpower required. The fix isn't forcing yourself to suddenly have more fun. It's protecting one small window after dark, even 15 loud, real minutes with another human being in the same room, and treating it the way your body already secretly believes it deserves to be treated. As essential, not optional, not something you get to if the day happens to allow it. It doesn't have to be a fire, it doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be as small as putting the phone face down, sitting across from someone, and staying there past the point where the conversation would normally end. Your ancestors never scheduled that. Darkness did it for them, automatically, every night, for longer than any modern habit has existed. Because that itch you feel some nights, the one pulling you toward noise and people and laughter instead of one more quiet hour alone with a screen, was never a distraction from your real life. For 300,000 years, it was your real life. The workday was the distraction. The fire was always the point.